Good morning. Welcome back. We have officially hit the lull in between finishing up like Halloween decorating and waiting for the start of the holiday gift giving season, and I'm officially feeling overwhelmed by the prospect of the holidays, mainly by all of the gifts and just things that come into the home during the holiday season, which typically means that it's time to start decluttering. And I think that we need to start in Kinsley's room because it's the smallest room in the house, and also because her birthday and Christmas are both in December, and so having the smallest room and it looking like this most of the time because there's just too much stuff and not enough storage, we need to fix that. And just to be clear, she has asked me to fix this problem for her. She has asked me to declutter in here, to reorganize, and specifically she wants me to build her out a custom closet, or at least a semi-custom closet, so that she has more drawer space, storage space, and shelves in there that will kind of hold her Lego collection, because she doesn't want to completely declutter all of her Legos, but they're just kind of all up on these shelves right now because there's nowhere else to put them. So before I can build out anything custom, I need to get a grip on this space anyway. So we are going to tackle this today. And while I'm in here, I figured I might as well tackle her nightstands as well, because they are just a mess, and having these decluttered and organized could offer quite a bit more functional storage space for her without having to add in any more furniture pieces to this small room. And I do think that the best place to start is going to be her nightstands, and then we'll move on to her desk area and then the closet. That way we can free up some of those smaller storage areas and have a place to put like the tiny little items that she wants to keep that have just been thrown in her closet, or even some like current crafts and interests that she's reaching for every day that don't need to be stored away in a harder to reach area. And if you want to know what I'm listening to while I do this, it's the Kingslingers podcast. If you are a book girly or just like to have really insightful, thorough conversation about literature, let me put you on to the Kingslingers podcast, because it is so good. I have shared a wide variety of decluttering and home organization content over the last 5 years on YouTube, and some of those videos include like full-blown KonMari method decluttering, where I pull everything out, kind of overwhelm myself, and then sort through it and put everything back at one time. And that is not the approach that I'm taking here in Kinsley's bedroom for a couple of reasons. One, this is kind of like maintenance decluttering at this point, because I do declutter pretty frequently in my house. At least twice a year we're doing like a major overhaul like this. But then also Kinsley's bedroom is the smallest room in our house, and so there's not a lot of space for me to be putting all of these things. And I know that if I pulled everything out at once, I wouldn't be able to walk through it, and it would feel so overwhelming that I probably wouldn't even complete the project. And I wanted to share that with you to say that decluttering is not one size fits all. There are a ton of ways to do it, methods and psychology behind it, and what's right for one person might not be right for the other. So if you are tackling a project like this, do whatever feels right for you. Real quick, let me show you what I've got going on over here. So I grabbed this box for donations, and this is just out here because I think Sawyer might want it, so I'm going to offer that to her. But all of these will be donated. And then this is the keep pile, and I've kind of got it off in little sections of books that I think she'll want to keep, things that might go back into the nightstand. And then I think this stuff should go in her desk area. It's like instructional drawing books, blank paper, drawing pads, things like that. And then of course I do have a bag for trash here, and I just want to let you know that this is only trash. Nothing that could be recycled or donated is going to go in here. It is strictly for trash. that is necessary to throw away. So don't think that I'm just like throwing out everything that I'm decluttering. I'm not. These are the decluttered items. This is the trash. If that came off as aggressive, it was definitely not my intention. I just know that every single time I share a video like this, I get comments on the trash and wastefulness, and I wanted to get ahead of it. Although I'm sure I will still see comments about it, and rightfully so, because to be honest, I carry that guilt even without seeing the comments. It blows my mind sometimes, thinking that I'm keeping up with daily cleaning and routines, and then doing a project like this and seeing how much trash accumulates, how much we end up throwing away, sending to the dump. It can be very triggering for a lot of people, myself included. So just know that my intention is not to throw away things that can be salvaged, and I'm doing my very best to donate or recycle everything possible. And anything that makes it into that trash bag is because it cannot be donated or recycled. It truly is trash. And even saying that, I ended up with a full trash bag by the end of this video. Did anyone else read The Amazing Days of Abby Hayes when you were in middle school? I had all of these when I was growing up and then didn't keep them, so I had to repurchase them to read them with Kinsley. We read them as her bedtime story for 4th and 5th grade. We'd do like one chapter a night, and we have almost all of them despite them being out of print now, so you have to buy them used. I think the only one that we are missing is number 8. Like, we have, it goes straight from 7 to 8. So if you have number 8, let me know. I'd love to buy it from you. And since I do want to hold on to these for Sawyer, but she won't be ready for them until later elementary, like 4th or 5th grade, because Abby is a 5th grader in the first book, and the series kind of documents her transition out of that adolescent elementary stage and into the tweenage middle school phase of life. It talks about like all of the social dynamics, social changes, trying to balance academics, extracurriculars, your first crush, things like that. It's such a fun, relevant series to that age group, but because of that, it's not something that I would read to Sawyer before she is hitting those milestones. It's worth holding on to and trying to figure out how to store it for the next 4 years until it's relevant to our life again. And I wanted to share that with you all to say that if you have something like that that you just don't want to part with for whatever reason, the reason is valid, and it's okay to store it away if you're not ready to let it go. I doubt we will ever let that series go. Or this one down here, the Magic Tree House series. This is what I read with Kinsley in early elementary and what I'll be reading with Sawyer through early elementary as her bedtime stories. And that's just something that we love. We have a passion for reading in this household. It is so beneficial for children's development and just intellectual stimulation, and it's so important to read to your kids, encourage them to read by themselves. And so for those reasons, for us, books never feel like clutter, and they are the most difficult category for me to declutter. And I always like to point things out like that when I'm filming these types of videos or sharing this type of content. I never want you to feel pressure like you need to declutter things that hold nostalgia or that you have an intention for or that you're just not ready to part with for whatever reason. That's okay. Just focus on the things that do feel overwhelming, do feel like clutter, and that you do feel like you can minimize, and then you'll be able to find the storage solutions for those other things that you want to hold on to. So anyway, now that I've been rambling on my soapbox here, let's move on to Kinsley's desk area. I know there's going to be things to declutter there, and I need to make some space for these other things to go in. decluttering and even organizing Kinsley's desk space is always so difficult for me, and I think it's because she is an artist through and through. She is such a creative person and she's always creating things, and so it can be difficult for me to know what needs to be decluttered, what's actually trash, and then what she wants to keep and is still interested in. And she doesn't stick to just one medium. She's got so many supplies and she uses all of them, and so what I tend to do is just make sure that everything still has some juice in it. Like, you'll see me going through all of her fine liners and jelly roll pens and like everything that's in this little desktop organizer, and anything that still has some juice left in it we're keeping, because I'm just assuming she wants to keep it, and I'm only going to be decluttering or throwing out the things that are all used up, like obviously used up, or some paintbrushes that are like so crusted up that the bristles aren't even flexible anymore. But other than that, we're going to keep everything else, and I'm just going to try to organize it as best as I can in this desktop organizer. I did get this from TJ Maxx, I think. They have so many organizational items in their office supplies section, and they have been invaluable in our household. I have two very creative children, and I'm constantly trying to figure out ways to organize art supplies. I think that this one was like $7 or $8. She's had it for a couple of years now, and it works out really great for her everyday supplies. She also has some supplies that go into her desk drawer though, and another larger organizer that's in her closet that you'll see a little later on. So they're kind of all over the place. She has a lot of things to be creating art, which is good for her because she is a very creative person. She takes inspiration from a lot of different mediums, and I like having those materials available to her. But I'm just rambling to say that this is a very difficult area for me. So if you feel like I'm not decluttering enough here, or I'm not organizing the best, because organizing a large volume of things is just difficult. You can't out organize too much stuff. Just know that I'm doing the best that I can, but I don't want to accidentally declutter anything that she loves and uses all the time or hinder her creativity in any way. So going through this drawer, I'm just throwing out the things that are obvious trash, like crumpled up papers or paintings that have been smudged or gotten water on them and ruined. And then I'm going to keep everything that she can still use to create art, any finished art pieces that I think she might want to hold on to, and also all of her instruction manuals, because she's been very into realism and drawing, so she has some things for that, but also like little chibi characters, which I think is so cute. And you're gonna see me reorganize that drawer, I think at least 3 times in this video, and that's just because, like I said, it is very difficult for me to figure out how to organize such a high volume of things that we need to hold on to. This fabric bin organizer was actually shoved into Kinsley's closet, and she had pulled it out recently to get to all of her crochet materials, and then just didn't put it back in there because when she was pulling it out, other things were falling all over the place and it was just chaos. And so that's why it's just like a random bin sitting out here that I'm going to go through really quickly. And I do have to say that the state of her closet is 100% my fault, not hers. I did a full bedroom makeover for her at it was the end of last school year, but that's like the beginning of the summer, and I wanted to help her transition from elementary school Kinsley to middle school Kinsley and just kind of push the reset button in her bedroom space. She'd been asking me for a while to update her space to her current aesthetic and taste and needs, and so I thought that was the perfect time to do it. But when I did that, I wanted the room to be more minimal, to feel like it was more spacious, but also for the sake of the video, having everything more minimal just looks more aesthetic on camera. I know it's such a harsh reality, but it is reality. And so anything that I didn't know what to do with, I just shoved into her closet and said I would deal with it later, and then I just never dealt with it. So that is actually what we're doing now. I guess this is technically a follow-up to that bedroom makeover where I finally need to right my wrong. And if you have not seen that makeover video yet, I'm going to link it for you because I think that it is such a good one. I'm very proud of it, and Kinsley absolutely loves her bedroom. It is very reflective of her middle school style. So if you have a tweenage girl, it would be great inspiration if you are wanting to refresh their bedroom or maybe give them a full makeover as a gift this holiday season. All right, I think that this has got to be my stopping point for today. It is getting very late into the afternoon and I have to go to Kinsley's game. So once we're all done with that, I know she's going to want to come home, shower, do homework, and she's going to need her room. So I won't be able to finish up this closet today, but I was able to declutter and kind of start the organization in the entire rest of the room. So both nightstands, her desk area, and I even just decluttered her little shoe rack on the back of the door here. I just removed some shoes that I'm pretty sure are no longer her size. I will have her try them on when she gets home before I officially donate them. And then she does have like sneakers, cleats, a pair of Crocs, but I think she might have all of those at school today because I couldn't find them in her room or anywhere in the house. But those fill up some of the remaining little slots in that organizer. But since I have the entire rest of the room done, that means that I'll be able to just focus on this closet tomorrow. So we will be back in 24 hours to finish up this mess. So this was the next day, and after getting her room completely clean the day before, I'm going to turn it into chaos again by pulling everything out of this closet. And as you can see, everything was everywhere. It was just piled on top of each other. Her shelves had even gotten broken because of how we had just shoved things in there, and there was no organization at all. No rhyme or reason to why things were where they were. It's literally just shoved onto these shelves and around her dresser because I needed it off camera and also off of my mind when I was putting everything in here. I did move her dresser into her closet because there's nowhere else to put it in her room, and so that does take up quite a bit of space in her closet, and so we're just kind of left with the sides to shove everything else in, which is exactly what I did. But pulling it all out, it was a lot. I had it all over the floor here, and I kind of had very limited room to be able to walk through it or sit down. So I'm just going to pull each bin individually for everything that was in organizational bins and sort through those individually, making those piles again. So having a pile of trash, a pile of donations, and then a pile of everything that I thought that she would want to keep. And I'm going to sort through things that way in whatever feels the most organized. And then we'll get into all of the random little pieces that I just had to pull out individually that are piled high, and most of it ended up being trash, to be honest. But this was the only way I could think of to make this manageable, because seeing it all out on the floor in a very tiny room was very overwhelming. So going through each bin, and then as I go through it, I'm going to make sure to put the trash in the trash bag, the donations in the box, and try to keep things as tidy as I possibly can, because I wanted to make this as easy on myself as I could. You guys are probably going to think I'm so crazy here, but I had this vase full of faux hydrangeas that I was having such a hard time getting out because of how narrow the neck of the vase was, but I needed to remove them because all of Kinsley's change money was in here and I needed to dump that out before decluttering the vase. And don't ask me why we put it in here because I have no idea. This is the point where I start to feel like I'm not doing anything because it's still so chaotic, but I promise there is a method to this madness. So this is a donate bag along with this box that I've been filling over here. These are keeps, but I just need to keep decluttering before we can find a place to store those. A bag of trash, and I need to get a new one because I ripped a hole in this. And then these are also donations, but I figured I'd just fill this bag instead of folding it up and putting it somewhere. This is that larger organizer in Kinsley's closet that I was talking about earlier when I was decluttering her desk. She has quite a lot of art supplies in here as well, and this came from HomeGoods, I think. So I can't link this exact one. HomeGoods does not have a website anymore, but I can try to find something similar if you're looking for something like this. It has been great for organizing all of Kinsley's art supplies, and then she also has makeup in here and stickers and things like that. We've had this for 3 or 4 years now. It's still in basically brand new condition, and it's just been really wonderful having such a creative child who has a lot of supplies, but finding a way to properly organize them so that she can have access to them, but not having them all over the house. So I'm just going to sort through all of these again, and there were a few things to declutter. Most of the paint pots actually were dried up or used up, so I went ahead and decluttered those, kept all of her tubes of paint and watercolor markers and things like that. And then I actually am going to be moving her makeup, so I'm putting all of the brushes and everything in here at first because I thought I was going to keep it here and just kind of declutter through it, but then I ended up taking it out, which is why you don't see it here, and I'm going to put it in her nightstand since that's where a lot of her like morning get ready things are. And then with these larger organizers or drawers in the organizer, I'm going to put all of her spare Lego sets and then some of her Lego instruction manuals. Later on, we are going to declutter through all of her Lego sets, and I think that we're going to be selling or giving away some of the sets, and since we've kept the instruction manuals and the spare pieces, we'll be able to offer those either put together or taken apart with the instruction manual included. And she's only going to be keeping the ones that she truly loves and is really proud of and wants to have on display. And eventually I'll build her out a custom closet where she will be able to display those. But now I think I've gone through most of the decluttering, and so I need to just get some of these random things put away. I need to reorganize her desk drawer for the 3rd or 4th time now, to make sure that all of her art supplies and materials are where they need to be. And then I'm also going to tidy up her room and give her a finished, polished look to come home to at the end of the day. And let me just say, she was so happy when she got home from school and she saw that not only was her room clean, but it was completely organized. We did sort through everything that I thought that she might want to declutter, and there was only one change that she made. So with some of the stuffies that I had thought that she might want to declutter, there were actually a couple of those that she wanted to keep, and then a large one that I thought she wanted to keep, she swapped that out to declutter it. So she did keep a couple, but she also got rid of a couple of them, and it didn't make any difference, I guess, in the organization or how we had things in here. But overall, her room is just feeling so much lighter and brighter. She's having a much easier time cleaning up in here for like her daily cleaning routines, but also getting ready for her day, decompressing and ending her day. It is just so crazy what a clean, organized space can do for your mental health and the mental load. And I think that this project has been especially eye-opening for me with not only how important that is for myself, but also my children, how big of a difference it makes to have them living in a clean, organized area where things have a place and our routines can be streamlined and just made so much easier by having things tidy. Kinsley is going to be so excited when she gets home. It just feels so much better in here and things are actually making sense. So over in this nightstand, I have these organizers with her makeup, lotion, some hair care items, which just made sense because she also has like this with her jewelry and lotion and perfume and things. So having them all in one place. And then on the bottom drawer, I put all of her crochet items because she has been crocheting a lot lately. And then in her other nightstand, I have books that are still like on her to read list up here at the top. And then in the bottom, I have these 4 organizers. This is just some miscellaneous things, the boxes to her Switch games, and 2 empty ones that she can grow into. Her desk was also a huge transformation. I didn't really do very much with this shelf up here because she likes to display all of those things, but I was able to declutter a ton of markers that had been used up and just get these things sorted into categories so that they make more sense and they're easily accessible for her. And then in her drawer, I took out like half a bag of trash from here, and now she can fit all of her art supplies. So all of her drawing pads and blank papers, her special colored pencils, and then all of her instructional books and manuals and things like that. And then her closet was such a huge transformation. This is looking so good, and I know it's going to help out a lot when she's getting ready in the mornings or coming home from school and kind of decompressing, changing her clothes. She can actually get in here. It's not just piled high with stuff. I did put all of her stuffies that I think she'll want to keep down here and some Lego sets that haven't been built because we didn't have anywhere to put them. A couple of other larger stuffies, and then in the bottom of this is just some miscellaneous things. I kept this organizer, and there's a ton of things in here that I know she'll want to keep but doesn't reach for every single day. And then all of her Lego instruction manuals. I did leave all of her Legos up on these top shelves because I don't want to declutter those without her. I know she's going to want to keep quite a few of them. And if I ever do get around to building her a custom closet, she'll want like drawers and shelves so that she can display those while still having a place for her clothes. And speaking of her clothes, her drawers are also so cleaned up because she decluttered with me last night, and we made sure to fold everything nicely, get it put away, and this way she can just get ready in the mornings without feeling overwhelmed and also without feeling like she's lost half of her clothes because they just fall into a black hole in here. I just know in general that she's going to feel so much lighter and less stressed out when she's trying to get ready or even decompress from a long day. Kinsley does have the type of personality where clutter overwhelms her, and she is like soothed by everything having a place and just knowing where to find it and being able to do that. So I don't know, I think that she's going to really enjoy this, and it was worth all of the work in this space. Anyway, I hope that you all enjoyed this just as much as I clearly did, and that I was able to motivate you to declutter around your home or work on some organization that you may have been putting off in preparation for that busy holiday season. If you did enjoy today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. That always helps to support my channel, and subscribe if you aren't already. I'd love to have you join my YouTube family, and I will be sharing a kind of whole house decluttering mini series as we lead up to new holiday content. So I don't want you to miss out. Make sure you're subscribed, turn on your notification bell so that you don't miss any of my new posts, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.